Today, we will be racing in the 4th round of the ASR GT3 Championship at Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. This is Triple Crown Racing, let's get into it. So here's the story so far. I have participated in every round of this championship bar one, and have scored a podium in every single one of those. However, I am still without a win. That puts me in 3rd place in the championship with 63 points. Dominator currently leads this championship in his Ferrari 488, followed by Whopper in the Audi R8 LMS. My Xbox username is Gear3 Gaming, which you can see on screen now. These graphics were made by Captain Farah, who also covered 3 of the other events in this championship so far, so I'll leave a link to him down in the description below. So, as we go around for a lap at Spa, I will tell you a bit about this championship and sort of what's happened so far. So, right now I'm qualifying to be hopefully the best of the 4 people who are currently participating in this round of the ASR GT3 Championship. Normally we get around 6 drivers, but Whopper, who is actually in 2nd in the championship, has had to pull out of the league, and Captain Farah, who makes the graphics, is actually away right now, as we're coming up to turn 1. So, in this league, we have sprint races and endurance races. The endurance races are 2 hours long, and it's just one event on that particular weekend. The sprint races are 2 races in a particular weekend. So far, we've had 2 enduros and 1 sort of sprint racing weekend. In that time, I've accumulated 63 points, and I've participated in 2 sprint races events, so that's 1 weekend, and 1 enduro. The first couple of sprint races were at Fuji Speedway, and the first enduro I participated in was at Catalunya. So from those races I got a 2nd, a 3rd, and a 3rd. So that puts me in 3rd place in the championship, which I'm pretty happy about. Also, for the first time this race, I will be racing under the the Arc Manthey Racing banner. Normally I would be racing under the Manthey Racing banner, but now, because of my partnership with Arc Racing, I've asked especially to have me race under that banner. I believe that's everything I need to cover. There's still time to sign up, so if you have an Xbox and you have Project Cars 2, come and join us. There's a link to the sign-ups in the description below. The more, the merrier. So I'm going to shut up for the rest of this lap and let you listen to the Porsche 911 GT3 R. After I'd done 1 or 2 laps, this crazy accident happened. Now remember this for later. So the final results in qualifying were Sado 15 on pole, getting his first pole of the season, followed by the championship leader Dominator in the Ferrari 488, followed by me, and followed by Chimchar in the other Porsche. Now, this is an enduro round, and I had a clear plan for this race. What I was going to do is I was going to save a reasonable amount of fuel, and well into the 2nd hour of the race, I was going to pit and make sure I overcut everybody. But then, as I loaded up onto the ready up screen, rain. I did not account for that. So, we are in formation, and we are coming up to the final couple of corners on Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. Sado starts first in the Renault, followed by Dominator in his Ferrari, followed by me and the other Porsche of Chimchar. The lights are just starting to come on now, and we're getting ready to start this race, and we go green for the inaugural 2 hours of Spa. Dominator looks to have a run on Sado as we run towards the first corner. Dominator looks like he's making a move, he's late on the brakes, and I'm late on the brakes. Sado's run wide, and I followed him, and Chimchar sweeps through on the inside. So, and I've dropped back too because I've run wide. Going into Eau Rouge now, spray is going everywhere. I'm actually on the brakes in this corner because I really do not want to cause an accident, and we have a lot of oversteer, and that means that I've lost time to the leading cars. Jump forward to the beginning of the second lap, and we are once again on the run towards Eau Rouge, and I'm actually dropping back because I'm really struggling in the rain. Rain is definitely not my strong point. Sado and Chimchar are very close to— oh my god! Okay. Chimchar seems to have an accident. I think he's had that wall glitch where if you touch the wall, it's similar to the accident I had before. And what Chimchar's just done there, racing cars are not supposed to do that. So now I am chasing Sado down the Camel Straight towards the chicane at the end of it, and we'll see what sort of time we can gain on him. Braking down now, still following Sado, and Sado's run wide. He's hit the sausage curb and he's gone around. Luckily I didn't cause an accident. So this is later in the race now, and we've just decided to save some fuel because we are actually losing a lot of time to Dominator, so we may as well try save fuel and see if we can beat him on strategy. Still seeing now if I can catch up to Dominator, however my tyres are wearing now and I'm still trying to push hard, but this is what happens when you push a bit too hard as we run wide into the gravel traps and have a slight touch with the wall. The rain is treacherous now, as when we hit this corner we hit a slight puddle and we just completely lose it. There wasn't really much I could have done that because I was not aware of that puddle on the inside of that corner. Fast forward a bit further on and I can actually see that it's drying up a little bit. The rain is slackening off, and there's Chimchar explaining why he's no longer in the race, because it's obvious because he had a massive crash. Going up Eau Rouge now, you can definitely see it is clearing up now. It's actually stopped completely, and what we're doing now is we are adjusting our pit stop to put on Michelin hard slick tyres, and we will be putting some extra fuel in there and see if we can get to the end of the race on the fuel that we have and the tyres that we are going to be putting on. So I've lost a lot of time to Dominator now, so I think there's nothing to lose, and maybe I should try beating him on strategy. Into the pit lane now, not the most graceful entrance to the pit lane. Now you can see it's still a little bit wet, but I think maybe it's worth taking the gamble and seeing if we can put dry tyres on and beat Dominator on strategy. So fuel going into the car now. It's always quite a long part of the pit stop putting fuel into the car, so we'll just have to wait until that's done. And fuel is done. Now the pit crew can get to work on the tyres. We're swapping out the wets and putting hard slick Michelins onto the front, and now they're heading to the rear, and we are taking those wet tyres off the rear and putting hard slick Michelins on the back as well. Now we get that pit stop done in 32.4 seconds. We exit our pit box now, sliding a little bit on standing water, but let's see what we can do with dry tyres. Upon exiting the pit lane, I've realised my mistake. It was the wrong tyre choice. It's still too wet, and as you can, we have a massive snap of oversteer, and I'm trying so hard to keep out of the wall. Thankfully we have done, but we've lost a lot of time. To the Eau Rouge incident, you can see we are still struggling on dry tyres as we have another massive snap of oversteer, and we hit the sausage curb and we go flying, but luckily we haven't spun. But now, I've lost a lot of time, and Sado has actually been able to catch up to me, and he is still on those wet tyres. And we are heading towards Eau Rouge now. I can actually hear his Renault engine in the background. We go into Eau Rouge. I run a little bit wide, there's no grip at all, and that's all that Sado needs to go through, and he is up into second place, and we are down in third. After being overtaken, we are madly trying to catch down Sado. We are coming into this corner now, but it's still too wet, and we lose the back end and we spin off onto the very wet runoff area. And to add insult to injury, we have been lapped by Dominator. Thankfully, at the end of the lap, Sado came into the pits, which meant that I got my second place back. So, maybe going on to dry tyres wasn't that bad a choice after all. As we can see now, the track is almost completely dry. There's still some standing water around the track, but it is manageable. With sim racing, you do tend to get bored sometimes, so you try to take corners as fast as you can without actually thinking about it. And what you're seeing on screen here is one of the many spins that I actually had trying to basically test my limits. So here, once again, we are about to get lapped by Dominator as we're just coming down the start-finish straight. I actually had a slow-down penalty, so that basically allowed him to get through with no troubles at all. But I still wanted to have a little bit of a battle for track position. I have a little bit of a look there, just to remind him I'm still there. Like I said, when you're bored, you do try to test your limits, and what you're about to see is what happens when you push way too far. We lose control, as you can see, and we hit the wall hard, and we actually get quite a lot of damage from that, so now we have to try limp back to the pits. I've basically lost all hope at this point, so I come into the pits just to get fuel and tyres to take me to the end. Oh, come on! So, for the rest of the race, nothing really happened, and we are about to go on to the final lap of the race. Well, it is the final lap for the leader, not really for us. We're just waiting for him to cross the line, and there is actually a yellow flag near Eau Rouge, and we're about to come see what that is. And I don't believe it. It's Dominator. He's ground to a halt on the entrance of Eau Rouge on the final lap of the race, and we are now actually, it's a lap later, and we're coming round to actually take away the lead from him. He is stopped on what would have been his final lap of the race, and that puts me in first place, and I cannot believe what's happening right now. So it's the final lap of the race. I am leading after a hard V8 Supercars season. After all these races I'm trying to win, I am about to take my first race win at Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps for me, for Porsche, and for ARC Racing. We are coming towards the line now, and we have won the 2 hours of Spa.
Jack it up.
Well, this is awkward. Many things happened in the 12 hours after the 2 hours of Spa, and none of them were good. So, for starters, Whopper, like I said before, pulled out of the championship for personal issues, but Dominator followed suit because he was just bored of the racing and he thought the racing was really uncompetitive due to the lack of numbers and the fact that we could barely keep up with him. That may be due to his car, but he is also a very good driver as well. The other thing that happened was the race results for all the 2 hours of Spa were invalidated for everyone who was participating. So, because of the crashes that were happening on the entrance of Eau Rouge with that wall, the race result has just been completely invalidated because it took out Chimchar and it took out Dominator. I knew about this glitch, so I was actively trying to avoid the wall, but Dominator and Chimchar didn't know about the glitch and they crashed out because of it. Now, I thought it would be fine, and I didn't think anyone would actually care, and it'd just be like, if you hit the wall, tough luck, that's part of racing. But as a result of that glitch, the entire 2 hours of Spa has been invalidated, as has my race win. So I didn't get the points for that, nobody got the points for that. So I am trying to appeal this. I'm trying to see if I can get that race result back, or at least half points. It really doesn't look good at all. So, the two most competitive people in the championship are gone, and that only leaves me basically going to win the championship. And who knows, the championship might even be cancelled due to the lack of numbers. So there's a link in the description below. If you have Project Cars 2 and an Xbox, I urge you to join up, because this league may die and I might not be able to bring you any more of this ASR content. So I'm quite disappointed that my first ASR race win was taken away, but that's racing, I guess. Hopefully I can get it back. If you've got Project Cars 2, please join up. Goodbye. Sorry, that was really weird.